Hello and welcome back to part 2 of the Tower of Babel by Mr. Evolution 777. Evolution, sorry.
Like what the story claims. So you understand the problem, the dichotomy? And then the story tries to tell us a contradictory account. And a lot of Christians don't notice this, but in the story of Genesis, before the Tower of Babel was even built, it says that many, many different tribes spoke different languages and tongues. So people were already speaking different languages and different tongues and all that, and communicating in all types of different ways. I'm sure that there were people who were speaking in languages that were deaf and mute.
Okay, so here's the issue. They first spread out and then they came back together and had one official language. That's not a contradiction.
Kind of primitive sign language. So when the story comes along and tells us that all of a sudden God changed everything, that he made everybody confused by changing their speech and all that, that's pure and utter horseshit. The Bible already tells us that people spoke in many tongues. This is one of the reasons why I believe that Genesis was written by many different people and not just one person, because the story can't seem to keep consistent with what's going on.
Or perhaps your understanding of the story is not consistent. You allow your own biases and you read into the Bible things that aren't there.
And there's a lot of Bible scholars out there too that believe that the story of Genesis was written by more than one person, which would explain all the different accounts of creation. So it's something to think about. The Tower of Babel shows.
It may have been penned down by different authors, but it was guided by God. This is the Christian understanding of how the Bible has come about. It is written down by various authors over thousands of years, but it was by people who were devoted to God and sensed the presence of God and were working to do his will.
That God is not omnipotent, he's not omnipresent. Something wrong there. Try to think about my Adam and Eve story that I told you. God would have actually had to set it up to where they ate from the tree in order for them to be able to reproduce, bear fruit, and multiply.
Well, perhaps that their original intention was to eat the original way it was to be was for them to actually eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, but not till way later, until their understanding had improved. Just like it would be dangerous to give, just like it's dangerous to give primitive people in the Middle East weapons that do a lot of damage, and so therefore it's quite clear that the intention could have been first they would eat from the tree of good and evil. They would live with God for quite a long time. They would live under God's guidance and prove to themselves that they can be obedient and they can live under God's laws and decrees for their freedom, because you have to have laws in order to have freedom, and I could go a bit deeper into that in another video. You can't have freedom without laws. And then eat from the knowledge of the good of the knowledge of the tree from the knowledge of good and evil. And a lot of, here's where I would say where another area, like with this talking snake, it's not a talking snake, that atheists go wrong about, is that they didn't have knowledge. Yeah, they did. They knew it was wrong to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Eve knew it was wrong. Now, what is the issue is their knowledge of good and evil wasn't superior, wasn't intellectually formed yet, just their knowledge. But they had knowledge. I think I said knowledge too many times there. Knowledge.
Entire time, the Satan character had told the truth whenever he said, eat from the tree, and if you eat from this tree, your eyes will be opened and they will be like God. You will be like God. And even God, at the end of the Genesis story, says to the same effect that, hey, their eyes are open, they've become like gods. Something to think about. Thank you, folks. You've been listening to Brett Keene.
Okay. Well, see ya.